All right, guys, next video here, and you can see on the box, it was one I was really excited about. It is the Prinsu Design Studio Cab Rack for the Tacoma. Purchased this through Explore Overland. I will link that below, and let me know if you have any questions about them. They are an awesome bunch of guys to work with, and really great customer service, awesome to work with, communicated really well, and that's where I got this modular roof rack. I had a roof rack from Prinsu on my 4Runner before. I did the install myself with a buddy to help lift it up there. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. What I'm going to do is unbox the rack first, and we'll kind of go through everything that's in there. And then I will go through putting the rack together inside off the truck, and then we'll go out and we'll put it together, and we'll put it on the truck and get it all bolted on. Once we open, Prinsu does a really nice job. I've already taken out some of the stuffing and the extra protective stuff in here. They do a really nice job. One thing I love to see is the packing list, so you know that you're getting everything that you need in there. I like to see that just to make sure that you're good. I have the 4-door, and I went with the cab rack. So you've got side rails. These are the side rail pieces here. I went with the noise reducing trim. This is goes on the front wind fairing to help reduce the noise. A couple layers of stuff here. We have the wind fairing here. Some more layers. Nice protective packaging. They do a really awesome job. We have all the hardware here, and the thing that I like best about the hardware is that all of the hardware is labeled, so you know exactly what you're getting, and it's all pre-packaged into nice individual bags. Some products, some companies, you'll get it and it's all in one big bag, and then you gotta dig through to find out what exactly you need. So that's this stuff right there. And last in here we have two different color crossbars. The silver crossbar goes behind the wind fairing, and the other black crossbars go as the regular crossbars on the roof rack. What I'm going to do next is take you through putting the rack together off of the truck, or almost all the way together off the truck, and then we'll go outside to the garage. All right, the first thing to do is we're going to take the silver crossbar and attach it to the wind fairing here. You've got basically 4 pieces of hardware that you need to use. You're going to take these little pieces, they get slid into the rails. So you're going to slide them in, and then what you're going to do is you're going to get them kind of placed evenly with the holes on the wind fairing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once you have those spaced out about where the holes are on the fairing, you're going to take the hardware, and you've got one screw, which is just a regular screw head. You're going to go with a lock washer and then the regular washer. You're going to get the fairing kind of matched up with those holes. It's not perfect, but you want to try to get them spaced out evenly so that crossbar behind there is spaced out correctly. And then you're going to go ahead and put in the hardware from there. Next step or at least the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to place the weather stripping or the noise reducing trim onto the wind fairing. Just get it started. Kind of tough to get it started, but once it's started, you're good to go, and you're just going to kind of wrap it around, making sure you really push it on there. I had the same issue with the Forerunner Prinsu. There's a little bit left over. I don't know why they don't just measure it out for you. I'm just going to use some snips. I'm going to cut that off. There is a little metal ribbing in there, so you just got to cut through that. And I'm going to trim this edge right down so it fits nice. All right, next we're going to take all and put all the hardware together to assemble the rest of the rack. Bolt, locking, washer, regular washer, same as before. Put all those together, and yeah, there are quite a few of them. All right, next you're going to need the T30 Torx bit. And we're going to start by putting on one of the crossbars to keep it a little bit more stable. We're only going to put a couple on because we don't want them to be in front of the feet. We'll have issues mounting it to the truck if we can't get to the feet. So we're going to mount those crossbars, just a couple to get us started for today, and then we'll do the rest once it's on the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and finger tighten a couple of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to get the fairing lined up. There's actually 4 holes. I'm not exactly sure what holes I'm going to need it in. I did watch an install video from CBI and Prinsu. I just can't remember what they said. So I'm going to go with the middle 2. I'm going to hope for the best, and then I can always adjust. All right, so that's all I'm going to do for today off the truck. All hand tighten, not tighten down, just so we have some little bit of room. I have to wait for some help, so the second part of this video where we're actually putting it onto the truck will come later. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next install portion.
So the next thing we did was use a little pry tool to take off the weather stripping, and then underneath the weather stripping, the pre-drilled holes are covered with a little bit of tape. Hard to see because it's the color of the truck at first, but we peeled that off and then cleaned the surfaces to make sure that that weather stripping went back down as good as it could. just the top rubber piece and not have to deal with trying to drill through the metal ribbing. After a little trial and error, we realized that a little Dremel tool was way easier than the knife. The YouTube video I had watched, they used a knife and it seemed to work. I don't know whether mine just wasn't sharp enough or whatever, but the Dremel tool was perfect. Once we got all 4 spots trimmed up, we went inside and we drilled the holes for the spacers. As we drilled, it was really difficult to get the edges cleaned. I didn't want to over drill and have it rip through on the sides. And then we came up with the idea to use a little Dremel tool with a little sanding bit, and it worked perfect. Smoothed the edges off and really was the perfect fit for the spacers, which we'll move to in just a second. After siliconing the holes, putting the spacers in, and putting the bolts in, was time to put the rack up on the cab. What we did was silicone a few different spots along the weather stripping just to get it to stay as well. Really super helpful to have a friend so you don't scratch the paint getting the rack up on. Once we got it up there, we just made sure that the bolts fit into the correct spots. Had to use the little bit of play on either side. That's why it's really helpful to keep the crossbars only hand tightened to make sure everything can fit properly. Then we went ahead and hand tightened the extra crossbars. So we were able to put that back fin in. A little fun fact, they don't make the 1x1 crossbar for behind the antenna anymore. So you take a regular size crossbar and it just goes vertically instead of horizontally. And then the last step is just tightening those mounting bolts, bolt with a big washer, tightening those down snug. And that is pretty much the last step. All right, so that wraps up the Prinsu Cab rack install. It was super windy and the audio really wasn't good for the outside section, so I had to do a little voiceover on that. I hope it comes out okay. But this was the Prinsu, I believe it's 2016 to 2020 cab rack. You'll notice that my Thule crossbars and the Prinsu rack are not level. I figured that they wouldn't be level. I was hopeful, but I figured that they wouldn't be. So next order of business is going to be doing the Prinsu on the Lear. Doing a little bit of research, find out which feet I want to make that as level as possible. But that was it. The total install It probably took me 45 minutes to do the install inside, and then it took me and a friend 2 hour and a half to do the install. We were taking our time. We were talking and stuff along the way. A couple key points that I mentioned in the video, but I'll hit back on. A Dremel tool, perfect for cutting out that ribbing. Extra duty, going heavy with the silicone is always key. And then just finger tighten everything inside before you bring it out and put it up on the roof. I hope you gained something from this video. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button and that like button. A couple new videos coming soon. Like I said, the Prinsu on the Lear cap topper will be one. If you want to keep up on some of the videos that are coming later, make sure you subscribe and hit that like. Thanks, guys.